Good evening, everyone, and thank you for so much for joining on this special occasion of Swamiji's Moksha Day. This occasion is even more special for all of us here at Ananda Gurgaon because Gurgaon is where actually Swamiji came in 1993 and he set up the first center in India here. And which also means that a lot of us Ananda Gurgaon devotees had the blessing and opportunity to have met Swamiji when he had come on several occasions between that time until 2013. So today in this session, we will all share the inspiration that we draw based on the meetings with Swamiji. And also we will hear from all our Guru Bhais about their experiences with Swamiji. So let us begin this session with a prayer. Divine Mother, Heavenly Father, friend, beloved God, great masters of Kriya Yoga, Jesus Christ, Babaji Krishna, Lahiri Mahashaya, Swami Shri Yukteswar, beloved Gurudeva, Paramhansa Yoganandaji, friend and guide, beloved Swamiji, humbly we bow to you all. Divine Mother, may thy love shine on the sanctuary of our devotion, and may we be able to awaken thy love in our hearts. Divine Mother, help us to attune to thy consciousness through Swamiji, through our line of gurus. Help us to be inspired by their living examples. Help us to be a perfect disciple like Swamiji. And help us to feel his consciousness and his presence in this session today and always in our lives. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Let us sit in meditation for a short 2-minute time, remembering Swamiji, bringing him into our consciousness. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. So let us begin this session, and I would want to start first since I am here talking to you. My memories with Swamiji have two specific things that inspire me always. Looking back at the time whenever he would come here in Gurgaon, he would usually give a public talk wherein there'll be a large number of people, and we always obviously go to his public talks. And we used to go along with all our family members. So my mother, my mother-in-law, my father-in-law, all of us would go together to his public talks. And while we've been on this path, so we would obviously be able to understand perhaps more what he's saying and so on, not as much perhaps our parents. But I had always noticed that whenever after his talk we would go back home, or at times we go out to eat food, all of us used to be in some kind of a silence, some kind of a peace, not as much of talking, but a lot of harmony between ourselves. And now, after so many years, when I look back and remember those memories, what I realize is actually the presence of Swamiji, his peace that he radiated through just his presence, was so much more than the words that he spoke, the talk that he gave, and so on. It touched every one of us, including those who've not been also on the path. So what it inspires us is that the peace and harmony that is within him used to radiate so much that everyone would actually get the same sense every time he would come and give such talks. The second thing that I am very inspired by was his presence. I would always feel that he is in the moment with his 100% attention. When he would come, he would have a large number of things, a lot of meetings, talks, meeting a lot of people, shaking hands, and so on. But every time I would feel as if he's completely attentive to that particular moment. And it was very inspiring to see how live in the moment is what he actually used to practice and obviously preach, but practice and therefore preach. So those two things always have been very close to my heart for Swamiji. So with this, I will now invite Pranita to share her inspirations.
Good evening, Guru Bhais. What an honor to be with all of us together in this special day. When I was asked what inspires me about Swamiji, number of things came to my mind. I said, okay, music. No, wait, his talks. No, his books. No, his presence. A number of things crossed my mind actually when I thought about Swamiji and what really inspired me the most from the innumerable qualities that he had as an individual. Of course, most of all, being the great devotee that he was. When I meditated on this thought of what really inspired me the most, what I felt from within was his joyful presence. Despite having some medical issues, some physical ailments in his body, there was never a moment that I have seen Swamiji down or dull or giving in to those bodily pains or discomforts as they come. As Nitendra spoke when he was in India, and I'm sure it was the case with his travels all across the world, he had a number of public talks to attend, thousands of people to meet. When I first met him, and in India, typically, when you're meeting somebody of that stature, a lot of people would want to go and touch his feet, take his blessings, gather his presence. And there was a huge crowd lining up to meet him one by one. Everybody obviously wanted to gather inspiration from such a great person and be in his vibration. And I was quite far at the back, and I realized, I was just thinking that he looks a bit frail bodily. uh, do I think really, I might get a turn to actually go and meet him in person? Or he would probably get tired, or somebody would usher him away and saying he's just too tired to meet everybody. But neither of that happened. Every single person that Swamiji met, he met with that same joy and same enthusiasm. That has been indeed the most inspirational for me. That every task, every moment of our lives, no matter what, there is a choice that we can make to either go through the pains or live joyfully. Thank you. And I would like to invite Sunny to share his inspiration as well.
Thank you, Pranita. Such nice to remember Swamiji. And I was thinking of what inspiration today. And the thought came me when, we were there with Swamiji physically. I used to think about getting some kind of a response from him. And that response, was somewhere a confusion that should I get a response, or, my ego was telling me, no, if he says something, then what if I have to do that? And obviously there were so many people around, and with his team taking appointments and all. So what I understood after thinking about it today, there were always time when he used to respond. It was almost unexpected for me. He also used to respond at times when I was not thinking about it and was doing something for Master. And finally, it was something which, came when I needed him to give that response. So this was there, and I have 3 stories to share. The first being, I had picked up a musical instrument, like a very small, tiny box in Switzerland. And it was something which I associated with it because I like music and, because it's childlike. And I gifted that to Swamiji on his birthday. Few days later, Lakshmanan wrote me, Swamiji really responded on that mail and said he really liked the kind thoughts which came with it. And, that was something which I never expected, as I said, those principles. The second is when, we had a Tivoli Garden talk for him. And this is a time when, I was serving very keenly, trying to arrange that talk, waking up at 3 in the morning, going to the newspaper walas and, arranging for flyers to be put in that, having tea with them early morning and dispatching those thousands of flyers everywhere. And again, after days later, after the talk, was going on, we got a response from him where he wrote to Dhyanaji that this is how Seva is. And, finally, I'd like to share one more story. This was when I was in Pune making a film for Swamiji. So almost on the last day, about to wrap up, I had not planned to take Swamiji's interview, but it was always in the mind. I was making a movie on community living. And this is when Narayani came in and said, oh, you're making a movie. Why don't you take Swamiji's interview? And that is the time again I needed him. And he came in, devoting almost more than 15 minutes one-on-one to give that interview, and such deep blessing. So he comes in various forms, and through Swamiji, what a blessing we have to have him. Thank you. I'll ask Natarajan to please share.
Hello, Gurubhai. It's indeed an honor and pleasure to share the inspiration that I've had. Yes, I was during those days, in the initial days of being on this path, initially attended a few of his talks that happened in Gurgaon, and had this opportunity to have dinner with him. A couple of us were there, and that it's not so much about what really happened or what transpired during the dinner, but what I vividly remember even today is really his personality. Yeah, his twinkling eyes, his laughter. It's childlike. Yeah, and that's something that still stays so vividly in my memory. In fact, a couple of years later, I remember having read about, Jyotishji in one of his articles had clearly written that his expression of love, creativity, dynamism were not his qualities, they were God's qualities channeled through Swamiji. So I could relate to what I had experienced during that 2 hour dinner. And during that interaction, I distinctly remember that he was extremely balanced. And we were talking a number of things, and absolutely there was little on spirituality or this part. And I got a sense that, outside of his being balanced, I mean, he had a very good understanding of India and all of us as Indians, yeah. And I'm assuming that's because of his intuitiveness. We have all read about that, and his commitment to each and every individual. I think that's really, the difference that it made. He could always relate to you one-on-one personally, and those are some magical qualities that still stays forever in my memory. While his human form is not there, but I think his creative and colorful spirit continues and lets all of us, follow on this path. And we are really blessed for being on this path and remembering him on this occasion. Thank you. I invite Kuldeep to take it forward. Thank you.
Namaste, everybody. My name is Kuldeep, and I've been with Ananda since 2009. And I've been photographing all the major events of Ananda since then. And being a sort of carrying a camera around, always gave me an opportunity to sit right up front, very near to Swamiji. And I was, at number of times, I would say I was sitting in his aura all around me. I was within his aura range, so his aura used to radiate till the end of the hall, but I was in the most powerful aura hall. And he was always emanating peace. He was so calm. He's giving a talk, and I'm watching him right up close, 4 feet, 5 feet, and there's no strain. As if a talk is flowing through him and Divine Mother is talking through him. That's the kind of a feeling that I always got through him. And my first upfront experience or the meeting with him was when I was not even a Kriyaban and I was getting my astral bangles. Dhyanji had arranged it. And there was a function, I think, in Sun City where this Brahmachari order, Tyagi order, and everything. All these people were given this order, and there was a big ceremony. I don't remember exactly in detail. I was very new on the path at that time. So Dhyanji had arranged that after the function is over, Dhyanji would have the astral bangle blessed by Swamiji and then give it to me. So after the function, Dhyanji went up to Swamiji, and I got an opportunity to touch his feet, get his blessings. Then Dhyanji had the astral bangle blessed, and after that, she put it on my arm. And I can't describe what happened after that. It was like a jolt of electricity going through my arm, and I literally had to excuse myself and sit down on a chair for at least 5-10 minutes. It wasn't a shock or anything, but you could feel the energy flowing through. It was a sweet energy, positive energy, but you could feel the energy, that had come through Swamiji into the astral bangle and was flowing through my arm. It's very tough for me to describe it in words. Then another incident I would like to mention here is today morning in the slideshow, you would have seen some photographs of Ashish driving him to the airport and Swamiji sitting next to. That's another day. That is, I think, within the same year or around the same time, again, I got an opportunity to get up close to Swamiji. And I mean, I was taking his photographs, one or two photographs came pretty good. I asked Swamiji. I mean, I was literally, I mean, for 2 minutes, I was thinking, shall I ask, shall I not ask, or he's going to scold me. Swamiji, when you come back, can we have a photo session? I was expecting a very stern reply, but he smiled so coolly, so cool. Why not? And that's such a great man, so humble, so down to earth, and so nice. I mean, all these qualities have inspired me throughout. I mean, his peace, his calmness, his the situation of that every time. I mean, I really remember him from the core of my heart. And now I'll pass it on to Preeti, please.
Thank you, Kuldeep. I came to Ananda just some months after Ananda had come to Gurgaon. And the first time, in those days, Swamiji used to lead the satsangs. So we'd be gathered in the basement and he would come in and he would say the prayer and he would do the chant and he would have the discourse. And then after that, we'd go up and we'd all be invited upstairs to the second floor where the dining area was, and for tea, and Swamiji would sit there and we'd ask him, you know, everyone would ask him questions, and it was informal time every Saturday afternoon. So I think what did happen was, and I remember that the first time that I attended such a thing, I had just asked Miriam, I didn't know what it was like. I said, you know, it's my father's birthday on that day. Can I bring cake? How many people will there be? So she said, there'll be about 15, 20, maybe 25 people. So I baked a cake and I took it. And, you know, it was cut and given to everybody. And Swamiji's was kept on the side, and because he was so busy. And when he got up to go, I just, you know, requested him. I said, Swamiji, it's my father's birthday, and if you could, you know, bless it. And so he sat down and he ate it. And then they were hurrying him along. So as he was going, he turned around and he tells them, he says, have that sent to my room. And after that, it was my blessing. Whenever it was his birthday, I would sort of bake sugar-free cake for him, and he was delightful. The point I'm trying to make here is that my acquaintance with him was on a very human level. You know, his qualities, they were admirable. There was so much love just to listen to him. I used to play this game. I said, he's used this word. You know, could I have used another word? No. He was so precise with what he wanted to convey. And so it went on till I set up a school, and there was close guidance from him. So there was tremendous one-on-one interaction with him. And so I had this very human acquaintance with him. And I knew his stature, but it was still, I just thought of him at a very human level. I was blessed. I don't know if it's a blessing, but when he had a very, very bad time in Pune, we nearly lost him. And so he was in the ICU one evening, and Dhyana and I were there, and Jayaji too. And we got this message that, you know, he wants you all there. So we went to the hotel where he was. I mean, the evening before, he'd been in ICU, and here he was. I think there were his usual staff. There was Jayaji, there was Dhyanaji, and amongst the Indians, there was just Shurjo and me. And we'd been called by name. He said, I want these people to come. And it so happened, I mean, I used to be very self-effacing, but everybody kind of, it so happened I was standing next to him. And he said something, and I just reached out and I held his hand. And throughout that 45 minutes we were there, I wouldn't let go, and he didn't pull it away. And he was in a state of bliss. I didn't realize these things until later Dhyana explained it to me. It was something I couldn't comprehend. And then I was summoned along with Dhyana to Pune, and he gave so much of himself, you know, singled us out for so much energy. The thing that happened was that I felt so blessed. There was no ego, there was no arrogance. There was just this constant feeling of, oh my God, I've been singled out. I'm so blessed. And the next time he met me, It was after that Tivoli talk that Sunny spoke of. And we were all lined up, and there's no way he could have missed me. After all that, giving me so much energy, he just walked past me. He didn't see me. We all went for, a meal to Tivoli after that, to Tonino's after that. He did not look at me. And I was so surprised. I said, I had not been boastful. There's nothing I had done wrong. And that same evening, I read the passage in the New Path where Swamiji wrote of Dayamata getting too close to Master in his human personality, and how Master rebuked her and distanced himself from her, and she was walking up and down outside till she finally got it. And she came inside, and Master sensed it, and immediately he was normal. And thank God, because Swamiji left his body soon after, but we had one more opportunity after this realization came to me, that why I am getting attached to his qualities, his physical form, and there is so much more that he has to give me. And so when I next met him, it was as before, the same. And I'm so grateful, because today I don't miss the person, because he's with me even more than he was when he was in the body. So thank you so much for allowing me to share this with you all. And I remember we used to feel so almost envious of Swamiji when he used to talk of his days with Master, that, oh, if only we could have been there. And now I feel so blessed that we had that precious time with Swamiji. Thank you so much.
Mickey?
Sorry, Mickey, sorry. I'm so sorry. Mickey, over to you.
और सब लोग बैठे हैं, स्वामी जी को जानते हैं. कुछ मैंने अच्छे कर्म किए होंगे, गुड कर्मा, आई लैंडेड हियर. और स्वामी जी की वजह से ही नोएडा छोड़ के हम गुड़गांव आए थे. और बहुत कुछ है, मैं 2 मिनट में मैं कल से याद ही करे जा रहा हूँ बस. और ही वॉज सो काइंड, फुल ऑफ लव. वो किसी के साथ में भी डिफरेंशिएट नहीं करते थे, सबके साथ, सो पोलाइट एंड फुल ऑफ जॉय. मैं यहाँ पर आया और मेरे को मौका मिला उनको फॉलो करने का. पीजी वुड हाउस, उनके घर में उनके साथ बैठने का मौका मिला. पूना, कैलकाटा, सिम्बसिस, थैंक्स गिविंग, हर प्रोग्राम में जाना. इवन उनके बर्थडे पे मैंने प्रार्थना करी, मेरे पास पैसे टिकट भी नहीं थी, मैं सीसी भी पहुंच गया. मेरे को पब्लिकेशन में काम करने का मौका मिला. स्वामी जी से क्या सीखने को मिलता है कि जब मेरे जैसा आदमी किसी सेंट के पास जाता है ना, तो आपके अंदर कुछ होता है, अपलिफ्टेड, योर सोल. तो किसी के पास जाके मुझे पहली बार महसूस हुआ, माय गॉड, समथिंग हैपनिंग इनसाइड, टोटली डिफरेंट. और मेरे को पब्लिकेशन में काम करने का मौका मिला. और स्वामी जी थे जो कि हर किसी को स्पेशल बना देते थे ना, कि स्पेशल. मेरे को किसी ने स्पेशल नहीं बनाया था. जब मैं स्वामी जी आते थे और मैं उनके लिए हर जगह किताबें अरेंज करता था, पूरा काम करता था कि स्वामी जी खुश हो, काम है. और स्वामी जी ने मेरे को बोला, किसी ने नहीं बोली बात कि मिकी आई एम प्लीज. तो वो वर्ड बड़े मैटर करते थे मेरे लिए. जब मैं वो काफी बड़ा ऑर्डर लेके आया और उनके घर पे बहुत सारे लोग बैठे हुए थे और स्वामी जी ने बोला, वी हैव टू क्लोन मिकी. तो मेरे लिए वो चीजें मैटर करती थी. कोई मेरे को इज लाइक ए फादर ना, कि वो बोल रहे हैं, उनके आंसू टपक रहे हैं खुशी के मारे. और वो बीमार थे, तो मेरे को मौका मिला हम 3 जनों को उनको ब्लड देने का, रिया, मरियम एंड मी. तो मेरे को मतलब कि मेरे को मौका मिला. और मेरे लिए शब्दों में बयान करना बड़ा मुश्किल है कि उनको मौका मिला उनके सामने काफी अच्छा पब्लिकेशन की वजह से मीटिंग स्पेंड करने का. उनके पास जाके बैठना, मीटिंग में बार बार बुलाते थे. और तो बहुत कुछ शेयर करने का, पर कि आई रियली मिस हिम. और Please, Amit Mohan ji, aap share kijiye.
Namaste, good evening to you all. I totally resonate with Miki ji that we are so blessed to be in Ananda, and we are so blessed to have met Swamiji. When I reflect, what an inspirational life. I mean, I think he came in this world to inspire us. He was God's boatman in true sense. Just two things, of course, he had so many divine qualities, but two things really, whenever I look, it is so electrifying. Whenever I reflect and think, look at his life. I mean, giving everything unconditionally to Guru, perfect disciple. And the second thing which really, blows my mind is the humility with so much divine qualities. The humility. I was on the other day when we were doing this Sevaka order meeting, and then I was reading his will. I mean, the first thing that comes across is he's not putting himself at pedestal at all, giving everything. Just he was here to give. It is such a big fortune to have come to Ananda and to be inspired by him through his books, through his presence, through his teachings, through his talks. And so I'm really very, very grateful. And just coming now to bit about the memories I have of him. Like everyone here, I remember whenever Swamiji came, it was like a festival. So, lots of activities. And then Swamiji brought in this energy, this power, and everybody will go into that activity, and that energy and power and blessing will last along. So momentum that carried forward, even when he was gone back. So I remember he was a powerhouse. I mean, he came and he really created, he changed things. He was such a big catalyst. New ideas, new thoughts, new activities would, come every time he visited. And one more story I would like to share, that, some of us, I remember Sunny, Natarajan, Daljit ji, and I, and some few others had gathered in this Hotel Leela. And Swamiji was meeting, all of us. We had a very blessed evening with him. And I remember his frame looked very fragile and he was looking weak. But that was the difference. But from his personality, from his face, eyes were twinkling, as somebody said. He was exuding this energy throughout the meeting. And then I was sitting across, and I just happened to mention to Swamiji that, Swamiji, I had listened to your Bengali song. It was so beautiful. And then he just breaks into that Bengali song. And I remember it was such a powerful moment. I get very emotional when I hear it. It was like he was giving out love. He was giving out his vibration to all of us. And it was really a life transforming experience just to sit across, share the table with him, and just listen to him. And there was, forget about the topics, but it was just the vibration that we felt. And I was not the only one, even not only us Guru Bhais, but I saw even people who were in the housekeeping, somehow they guessed that he was somebody, of a great stature. And many of them came forward and they also wanted blessing of Swamiji. So it's beautiful to share all this. And I'll just share one more this thing. I feel so blessed that I also bid for Swamiji's meditation bead, which I keep it as the most priceless treasure that I have. Thank you. And Vibhaji.
Friends, what an honor it is to be able to speak about Swamiji. And I remember my time in 2005, 2006, the initial years of Ananda in Gurgaon. And we were at that time getting introduced to the teachings of Paramhans Yogananji through Swami Kriyananji and the many Nyaya Swamis who were in Gurgaon at that time. And what always amazed me, friends, was that Swamiji was in his advanced years with a very frail body. But he moved to India. He moved to India to the origin of his guru. It just made us feel, made me feel rather, that what devotion, what an example of discipleship, that he felt that what his guru brought to the West as a memory of his love for his guru, he wanted to bring it back to India and to all of us who came on the path. We came to him, to Swami Kriyananji. I had read the autobiography of a yogi. It inspired me. The maximum inspiration and my journey in its totality and in depth actually began when I met Swamiji. Even today, when I talk about him, I just feel him. It just makes me feel that he's here with us now at this moment. That was the power he exuded then, and we feel it now. So one of the memories that stands out in my mind of the several that I had with him was one of the Easter lunches organized in his home in Gurgaon, Guru Prem. And there were few people, but his beautiful living room was filled, and there was delicious, yummy food on the table. But before that, we were all sitting around Swamiji. He was sitting in a big chair and in his orange robe at that time. And he looked so serene and calm. And he was asking people for the questions. So people were asking questions. And I still remember more than the questions, it was soaking in Swamiji himself, soaking in his vibrations, his voice. I couldn't hear the words. And I was thinking, okay, my turn is going to come. And I had no questions. Everything was so calm and peaceful. And in fact, I was getting a little fidgety in my mind that I have no questions. And so anyway, as the time would have it, I suddenly felt that Swamiji was looking at me. And when I felt his eyes on me, suddenly a question which I hadn't even thought about popped up in my mind. And it was tough for me that I had the question, but I couldn't verbalize it. I was so much in his aura, in his vibrations, I just couldn't. And Swamiji started answering it. I didn't ask it. Till today, I didn't ask the question. And he answered saying that I'm here to serve my Guru the best that I can. And I would like the SRF Self-Realization Fellowship and Ananda to merge. But he said there's reluctance from their part. And he answered it. I do not know why this question came, that there are such two beautiful organizations of our master, and Swami Yoganand is one guru of both the organizations, and both are beautiful. Why aren't they one? The question was in my head without having said it, and he answered it. He was answering. I just could see the intensity and the deep feelings in his eyes and in his voice. And he knew that I hadn't asked the question, and the tears were just streaming on my face. This was the power of Swamiji, and how he could inspire us. So with a lot of love, with a lot of gratitude for inspiring me, not only me alone, each one of us. Some of us have met him, some of us have not met him, but we are equally inspired. So Swamiji, thank you for being with us. I pass on to dearest Jayanti now.
Thank you, Vidal. It's been such a pleasure listening to all these stories. I mean, every one of us have so many to share, but the time constraints. Maybe one of these days we can get back together and share more. So I came on this path in 2010, and Swamiji left his body in 2013. In meantime, in between, he had come to Gurgaon, and we managed to attend some of his satsangs. And what really stands out is the last two of his talks, one at Tivoli and the very last one at DLF Phase 5 Club. And both these ones, I had the blessing to be, the leader of ushering team. So in which what we would do is, though we were taking care of everything, some few of us were part of this, human chain, because he had become so frail, and there's so much of crowding, everybody wanting to rush towards him and touch his feet. So we would form a human chain so that he could just go in between us and go up the stage, and so that he doesn't, get somebody push him or something. And so I got the opportunity to be very up close with him, trying to protect him with all the others. And the thing is, he would get down from the car, somebody will, both sides people will be holding him, he's all frail, but he'll keep talking and smiling and laughing at people. And as Natarajan said, had this childlike quality, and he would go up, somebody would help him sit down. Once he sat down and he would start talking, there would be a complete transformation. That's what has always stayed with me. Suddenly it was not this frail old man, but the disciple of Paramahansa Yogananda talking. His demeanor, his talk, his voice, everything had this quality of power. And the last talk, especially the DLF Phase 5, he called the choir on the stage and they sang his song, Peace. And he also sang with them to the best of his ability, because his voice was also failing. But when he was giving the talk, it had that power. And he sang, it had this such an ethereal quality. Even today, that song remains my favorite. And even today, when I hear that song, I always go back to that day when he sang along with the choir. And and when the whole talks would get over, and we would again go back to form that chain, and he would stand up, he will laugh. All that remains. When I would look at him, tears would start streaming down my face. I have no clue why it happened, but I realized, even he was not even looking at me. He would be looking at somebody, cracking a joke and laughing. But there was this force. I think it was a force of love that was, protruding out of him, the vibration of love. The tears would just keep growing. I would be smiling, I would be laughing, and there would be 3 tears all over. Both the talks I had this experience. And that has always stayed with me. That feeling of being in his presence has been powerful and sweet and loving. So with this, I hand it over to Abhishek.
Okay, I think I froze. Just give me a moment. Something happened. Just give me a second. Something happened to my camera. Am I back now? Okay, great. Thank you very much. This was probably, a test when something wrong happens. Can you keep your calm or not? Anyway, it's interesting. It's a joy to share my time with Swamiji. Just many occasions, actually, we heard him in public talks. There's a namaz happening around, and it's so loud because of the lockdown, but I hope you guys can hear me. And there were several occasions, and it's a joy to share with people, with devotees from Gurgaon, because many of them were there when I used to go to Gurgaon, and it was a very magnetic, dynamic time. But coming to Swamiji and hearing all of you I think this in itself shows his versatility and the whole gamut of his personality, what he was, what he brought. Kuldeep ji, I think, spoke about that Naya Swami order vows which he gave at Gurgaon. And for some reason, I was also invited over there. And it is still date, if I remember, it gives me that goosebumps. It was one of the most powerful ceremonies that I had attended. And somehow I was never it was not I was against, but somehow I never connected too much with rituals and all. But that was one of the ritual ceremony which was just so very powerful. And I was sitting, Swami was sitting here, and I was sitting on his right on the side. And it was like the whole main auditorium was like this, but on the side there was an LA, and I was sitting over there. And I was very curious, and I won't say stuck, but I wanted to know more about the Om technique because I was practicing it very deeply, and there was no reason for Swami to talk about it at that point of time. But then he just changed the topic and he started talking about the Om technique very briefly. I don't know, Kuldeep ji was there. I don't know he remembers or not. Some of you were also there. And then he just froze and he specifically answered the place where I was stuck in Om technique. And I just sharing where I was stuck, but I wanted to know how to get out of that stage and move forward in Om. And he stopped and he answered that in such a deep manner. And I couldn't move out of my chair for a while. And there was this devotee called Lokesh, young boy. And he asked, everybody is going to get the blessing. Don't you feel like going? And I just froze in the chair. I said, there's no need actually. But then he sort of pestered me so much that I felt that it's important to go. So I did go at the end to seek his blessings. But that was his power, the seriousness which he brought and the spiritual power which he brought. In contrast to that, when I met him one-to-one once, he didn't say that, oh, you were this in your previous incarnation and these things like that. He asked me my name, he asked me my age, he asked me who all are there in my family, what is my educational background, do I have a good financial backing in terms of if I want to, leave my job, I had already left it, and things like very practical questions. And that is what was very inspiring for me, because Swamiji was so very damn practical. His feet were so very firmly on the ground. Sometimes when we start moving on the spiritual path, we lose that grounding and everything starts becoming vague. And I've seen it in some devotees. I hope I don't go into that zone, but he was so very, very practical, deep down somewhere, so grounded, trying to figure out everything, very, 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 very wisdom oriented. And it was a joy to see him like that in that meeting. It was a very powerful meeting, and I sort of got flabbergasted. I didn't know when I entered the room, I didn't even greet him. There was only me and him. And I didn't know what to do. Then he probably understood. He asked me to come and sit on one side. On his side, I sat. But he said, this side I can't hear. Why don't you sit the other side? And it was very humorous. But so that I calmed down. But when I left, and I just left, I was about to leave, and he called me back and he said, kneel down, I'll bless you. And he blessed me for a while. And I didn't see any star or spiritual eye or something like that. Let me clarify. But the coming Sunday was my discipleship. And it was very, very touching moment for me. It was very eventful. That is exactly what I needed at that point of time. Two more things and then I'll wrap up. In that meeting, he told me two things, and I find always worth sharing it. And he says, many paths might not lead you till the end. This one does. And I absolutely was a doubter, and probably I wanted to hear that aspect very, very strongly. So he told me that. And the second thing which he told me was he was himself a doubter, but all his doubts, even the mental ones, he said some of them, of course, over a period of time, they vanish, they go away. I think Preeti spoke about it. But then he said even all the mental doubts which he had, all of them, every doubt of them was either answered by master or his teachings indirectly. And I can vouch for it, walking on the path for some time. People, some of them might be here, might be new. I don't think it just does make any difference who's new, who's old, and who's met Swamiji, who has not met Swamiji. I mean, it's a joy. It would have been lovely to meet Master also. But the point is, how do we feel in our heart? And the way the devotees have shared today, for people who did not meet, I think it just doesn't matter. It's how we connect with his spirit, his soul, his energy, Master's energy. That's what matters. Thank you very much, all of those who shared. Today it was a blessing, it was a joy, it was an inspiration. Now we take out time to meditate briefly and end this with a short healing prayer. We'll focus on sending out Master Swami's rays to the world. Take a moment, adjust your posture, sit up straight. And then long spine, close your eyes. Behind the closed eyes, just raise your eyes, find your spiritual eye, rest there. Think of Swami, his eyes, if you can. Feel in your heart. It's not our job to feel, it's the job of the divine, of Swami, of Master to make us feel. Just feel whatever they want us to feel. Go back to your spiritual eye. Visualize yourself as a beacon of light entering through your medulla, filling up the brain, down the spine, spreading all across you. Every cell, every particle of your being. Visualize in light of Swamiji, of the ray that Master brought here. Not violently, but consciously, strongly, gently tense your body. Double inhale, tense. Exhale. As you exhale, fill up with light again. Tense. Relax. Feel for a moment in your spine again. Relax. Let go. Fill with light. Fill with energy of the divine. Let's visualize planet Earth at this moment specifically. The healing vibration of the divine filling the planet. Transition phase, this is calling out to the divine energy to hold hands of all the devotees, Guru Bhais, all souls, all loved ones. For this specific situation which we are facing in India, all the loved ones, give them strength. People who are affected by COVID, give them strength and joy and love. We act as channels of that divine. And let's pray to the Mother, Divine Mother, Thou art omnipresent Mother. Thou art in all thy children. Manifest thy healing presence in these thy children, their bodies, their minds, and in their souls. Pray in general for somebody or some situation. Rub your hands slowly first. Consciously feel that energy and more. Feel the warmth, more the energy. Still the divine flowing through your hands, through medulla, through the palms, focusing. Feel for a moment, full focus, and then let's uplift, raise our arms, chant Om. Oh, project that light and energy. Oh, Om. Even project the Om. Feel Swamiji holding your hand, holding the hand of all those people who are affected, giving them his love, his strength. Move your hands a little bit up and down. Feel that vibration, project it. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Put your hand either on your heart or any part of your body which you feel to be energized, even at your spiritual eye. Swamiji was a giver. Even at that age, all of us were there to sort of take from him, also serve him. Can we take up that role of being a giver rather than a taker in all situations? Asking Swamiji to fill ourselves with that, his strength, his light. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Thank you, Jayanti. Thank you, Nitendra and Pranita, for organizing it. And thank you all of you for joining. If Jayanti or Nitendra or Pranita have any closing remarks, otherwise we'll close.
We will finish with an Aarti because also today. So
Okay.
if you have an altar around you, you can light a candle and do the Aarti. Ram Jai Jai Ram, Shri Ram Jai Ram, 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 Jai Jai Thank you everyone for joining. It's been a blessing. It's been a wonderful time. What a beautiful satsang to be able to hear all these personal stories of each one of us. Thank you so much for sharing your stories. Thank you. And Preeti, yes, I remember now that you shouted out peace. Yes. Yes, I remember. Thank you for that.
Thank you, Ji. Jai Guru.
Jai Guru.
Thank you.
The choir was not,
Guru.
the choir was not happy. The difficult
I
song
also
to sing.
remember PTG, you saying peace, shouting peace. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. And Somakshi and all was so bugged with me. She says, thanks a lot, because they hadn't rehearsed it and it's such a difficult song, but it was beautiful. It's so beautiful. So thank you so much for this. Thank you.
Thank you.